why Megumi is the best character in Jujutsu Kaisen.
Honestly, not that bad.
Also, not the most controversial one you've done, Gen.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, but Gojo is the worst.
That's a hot take.
Not in
I mean, have
Nakatami's
you
eyes.
have you seen his fans?
Also fair.
Yeah, but his fans are always
Gojo doesn't
going
have fans. He has simps.
There's two kinds of people in the Jujutsu Kaisen fandom. There's Jujutsu Kaisen fans and there's Gojo fans.
Yeah, there's not a lot of in between.
Anyway, so let's lift our heroes. Aldane, the half-elf paladin, Dairon, the Genasi rogue, Felix, the wizard, the Eladrin wizard even, and Seamus, the half-elf bard. The four of you, along with Karen, Ruba, and Prody, continued through the countryside of Black Rain. During your travels, you saw a flash of light in part of the forest within Black Rain. You went to investigate, however, the horses were extremely spooked and would not move from their spots.
For good reason, as it turns out.
Karen offered to stay behind to look after them, while the rest of you headed up into the forest, at which Felix used his arcane eye to investigate further ahead, only to see two very large, well, I say very large, they were large, purple humanoid things that were eating some of the wildlife, as well as a creepy bug spellcaster thing that actually noticed the arcane eye and destroyed it.
I stand by my usage of that spell.
It was a good use. You were able to... I say you were able. You then actually met the creatures and saw a very large pit that they were hanging out near. And then combat started. As you whittled down the enemies, eventually the insectoid creature between the three enemies suddenly transformed into a mass of flesh and other horrific things. An intense fight that nearly led to some people being dead. You managed to win, getting some nice magical items, and also leveled up. And Prody leveled up twice because he was so underleveled.
You really gotta, warn him before he comes on these adventures, hey, can you hang? Are you okay?
You do remember what we've, done before?
Yeah, but the last time Prody was with you, it was going to the Forbidden Ice. That's a lot of levels since you last travelled with him. But you survived. You checked the body and got that equipment. And yeah. I believe...
I'm gonna take the thing.
I believe we last said that, or I might be misremembering that, you were heading back to talk to Karen and let her know what was going on.
Yes.
Karen would offer to actually investigate the body and see what she can know from actually seeing it, while you guys would take at least a short rest by the horses.
Oh, can we please take a long rest? I want my health back and...
We'll be able to sleep on the way if we need to, or camp out. For now, though, it's at the time of day, it would still be like afternoon. It's probably 3 to 4 p.m. It's still very early for you guys. But for now, you can do a short rest. If you want to roll hit dice, you can to heal. I know, Seamus, you have your Song of Rest you can roll.
Yeah, if I remember right, it's just an extra D8, but let me double check. Yeah, it's a D8. Ooh, at 13th level, it moves up to a D10. That's
Ooh.
nice.
Well,
I
for
thought
now.
I couldn't remember if it was 12th or 13th, but it's a D8 for now. Everybody gets 5 extra HP.
Mm.
Yep.
Oh, you
Oh,
can't...
is that healing for us?
Yeah, that's your healing.
The 5,
HP.
not the 8, not the 8.
I forget, Dylan, did you roll for HP for Seamus?
No, what do I roll?
You would just click your hit dice. You can either do that, or you can take the average.
Oh, I just hit my hit dice, so is that 8 more max HP?
I mean, it's up to you if you want to. So
Well, my
you
hit
can
dice is
either
a D8, so that's it's a D8 plus 2. But so that's a good roll.
So
I
you
would
can either
take that.
You can either take 5 plus your con mod, or you can keep that 8 though if you want.
Uh-huh.
So you
Wait,
have
5
8
plus
more
my
max-
con mod, or 8 alone, or 8 plus my con mod?
Either or, not both.
Oh, so 5 plus my con mod would be... I'll just take the 8. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, okay. These are Ruber's hit dice.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll do Prody's.
Now I'm going to do my hit dice.
Wow, Prody did really well. While you guys rest at this point, Rua just says, I've never heard of any such creature existing. Whatever the fuck that was.
I say,
Felix, if you could draw that, maybe we could show it to Akira next time, you know, we see him. Maybe he'll also know if, you know, my grandma doesn't know.
I shall do my best, but I also kind of don't want to remember it.
Damn, that was a nice hit dice roll. Oh, I was gonna say. Again, rolled a 52 and a d8.
How do you do 52? How do you do all those hit dice at once?
I clicked the word hit die.
Yeah, Gen's got different stuff on that. Because Gen actually knows how to use Roll20, they've done stuff that they go. They make things very simple for me. Yeah. After about half an hour, Karen eventually does return. And you can see the expression on her face is rather grave looking.
Not bad, huh?
I'm surprised you're still alive.
Not for lack of trying on that thing's part.
We are surprisingly hard to kill.
You fought what was known as a Starspawn.
That sounds ominous and terrifying.
Yeah, that
These
sounds like something I want to be friends with.
How would I describe them?
I would
basically
know.
they basically come from alien realms and often invade other dimensions and universes.
Do we need to be concerned?
Yes. But on the other hand, there won't be a world to be worried about unless we deal with what's going on anyway, because, you know, worst case scenario is more of them exist, and they'll just have to tangle with the Tarask.
Which will be bad for everyone caught in between.
But, yeah, otherwise, you know, there's not much we can really do about it right now. I've burnt the corpses.
Thank you.
I hesitate to ask. You said it was an emissary?
Yes, so generally there's two forms that an emissary will take. And emissaries are generally the leaders of Starspawn. Well, that we know of. Generally, I don't know if you met one, but there's the lesser versions, which are more hour-sized. And then, usually when brought down to low enough energy, they will suddenly transform into their greater versions.
Which I'm guessing is their true form.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
It also seems like you fought two Hulks, which are pretty nasty enemies as well.
They were not nearly as terrifying as that damn Starspawn.
There's also the Starspawn Gru, which are... And she, gestures as if to, as she uses her hand to gesture how short they are, she pits them at about, the height of, say, a halfling. Starspawn Grus are, small, and normally the weakest of the Starspawn. They chitter, they produce noise in the form of psychic energy that can basically cause, hallucinations and disorientation. And if they can bite you, they have a greater chance of being able to hurt you more.
And what does that mean?
If they can, it could potentially snowball into them killing you just by biting you.
That's crazy.
There's also the Mangler, which is basically a 6-armed, usually blue sort of man/insect hybrid monster that would claw at you, and can also hide with great ease in darkness and dim light. They also have the ability to climb, similar to spiders.
Oh, that's not terrifying at all.
So if you're ever in a corridor or in a building, knowing that Starspawn are there, make sure you keep an eye on the ceilings. In addition, you have the Seers, which are usually the she does in quotes, low-ranking spellcaster sorts of the Starspawn. Generally, they can move through objects as if, they're incorporeal. And have the ability to just hit you with masses of psychic energy. And one of the worst things you could deal with, which thankfully you didn't have to deal with, is a lava mage. Lava as in, insect larvae. They are basically a mass of worms that will often take... I was going to say often take humanoid shapes. It's more that there's so many masses of larvae that form it, that they happen to just choose the shape of, a humanoid. It's hard to explain, really. There's
a Stormlight character like that.
Dairon is starting to gag, but holds it back.
And, even if you... and with the lava mage, it helps to kill every single worm that forms the shape of its body, because otherwise it'll just reform usually a day later.
So kill with fire, gotcha.
Why do we face so many enemies that can reform at a later date?
Because we have garbage luck like that?
Yeah.
Because God hates us.
Which one?
No, aren't they
Which
trying
one?
to help us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would they try to help us if they hate us?
I've read stories about there's the normal pantheon, and then there's something called an overgod. It's weird.
You wouldn't know that.
It's called Ao.
I mean, in my setting, AO exists, but not as AO.
I know. I'm just being an asshole.
Ayo.
Ew. Say
But yeah.
ew.
Karen does say, though, when it comes to Starspawn, I wouldn't blame any of you if you just chose to not deal with them.
They are overall kind of a massive pain in the ass, to put it very, very mildly.
Well, either way, we beat
I
it.
wonder, though, if Eben being killed has brought some creatures out of hiding and sort of
think
shifted
he was
how...
acting as a deterrent?
Yeah, probably. You know, maybe it came from the Black Death Swamp. I mean, unless we chose to go out of our way to see what was down that pit, I don't want to deal with that, though, right now.
No, that's not an
Agreed.
us problem. Or at least not an us for right now.
We can let another group of gods find another group of schmucks to deal with that issue.
Honestly.
Yeah.
For now, rest up. Will it be best if we continue on until we find somewhere that's a bit of a few leagues away from here? We don't want more Starspawns to appear from that pit and attack us during the night.
So then we get a long rest?
Not right now.
Yeah, we
Okay.
gotta keep moving.
She literally just said to leave this area.
Yeah, we don't want to be here when things come back.
Oh, I mean, like when we get back, we get a long rest.
Yeah. So, as you guys get back on your carts, Jack, give me a D100.
Oh boy, oh
Try
boy.
not to roll as badly
Everyone's-
as I did, apparently.
So close.
Okay. Okay.
I don't like that you're laughing.
So, you continue on your way, on your horses. Eventually, you come across a, what would it be called? You come across basically a large collection of trees that can act as a canopy while you rest. Who are doing what watches?
I guess I'll
First watch.
do one of the first watches.
I'll do the last watch.
I guess I'll do third then. I'm the fourth, technically.
Karen offers to do the first half of watches because she is an elf, so she can trance. Rue would offer to do the halfway point in between the watches, so that it would overlap with the second half of Karen's watch and the first half of Felix's watch.
Mhm.
So then, to start with,
And Brody's just
I
gonna
will need-
sleep the entire night.
yeah, Brody's just going to sleep.
He's earned it.
Karen will roll perception to anyone else who's doing the first immediate watch. Wow.
Whoops.
Does not perceive.
That's still a fucking 10.
Let me just see. Okay. Daron, you notice Karen is actually quite distracted during the watch.
Worried about Akra or the Starspawn?
I don't really know, honestly. I'm not worried about Akra. Him and Stasia can handle whatever they're dealing with together.
But
I mean, how would I describe it? The fact that 4 gods that aren't even part of this continent are having to be involved in what's currently going on. You know, that a Tarask could potentially just surface at any moment.
would I know that one of the gods is missing? Was that something that I would know?
Which one?
I think. Oh God.
I know,
I mean,
but I'm not going to tell you unless you remember yourself.
You can roll intelligence to see if you remember. Let me check something. You don't remember. Not with, like, clarity that you could say a name. The most you would be like is, oh, one of the gods is missing, but that doesn't narrow it down.
I remember during our travels we heard something about a god going missing. It's escaping me at the moment. Felix might actually be the one who remembers this.
Something for later, but
Yeah.
honestly, that doesn't worry me too much. I mean, some gods can just choose to not be involved with the mortal realm for a bit. If anything, it's more of an issue when they start actively manifesting and heavily tipping the scales of balance.
I mean, we saw that with Crucidas, right?
I mean, that's generally what the whole domain of Plutdral is. With Plutdral being the god of balance,
Oh, that might have been it. It might have been Plutdral.
Oh. Now that is worrisome.
Again, I could be misremembering, but that
generally Plutdral would be the one who would step in when a god oversteps its boundaries far too much. So if he's missing, that might be the reason why this land feels particularly
on edge.
I was going to say infested, but that feels wrong. But it feels like it has a larger concentration of very dangerous threats than what should be around.
I can agree with that.
My only worry is, though, is if my only worry is if we are how would I explain? My prime concern is that if this cult of the Tarask is dealt with, what might come next? You know, will there be a power vacuum?
Almost certain, but
there's not much we can do about it, unfortunately. We just have to take things as it comes, and yeah. Are you worried?
at that point, Dara just what?
She asks if you're worried.
I've learned that a healthy amount of anxiety and worry is good.
But I feel like there's a but coming.
sometimes there isn't anything you can do about it, and the world's always kind of just falling apart.
I mean,
at some point,
as bad as it might sound, there's only one country that's currently occupied by an evil cult.
true. It
And
could
you
be
also did
worse.
help liberate another one who is your enemy.
It could be worse. We could be ruled by an orange turd.
Yeah, I mean, well, you'd have to be stupid to allow someone like that in charge, right?
Right? I feel like more people should have stood up to it or stopped it.
Or, maybe you would see other countries rising up against their corrupt politicians and maybe see that as an inspiration to do it yourself. But, it doesn't help that sometimes there's activists who prefer the comfort away from the actual action, but like the idea of their conscience being cleansed because they're harassing other people.
Performative assholes are the worst. How are we doing on monetization?
But I mean, it's funny to think that Accra had already dealt with a rebellion by the time, well, long before he met me, and Stassi has dealt with his own rebellion.
At a point, it's cyclical,
I mean, two different continents, to be fair, with their own different problems.
Yeah. But
Accra's was more because of Elven supremacy being on the rise, and from what I remember him telling me, the people who had a hand in raising his village to the ground, also didn't like that his monastic temple was teaching a very destructive martial art style. I mean, you've seen the way he can fight anyway. And so eventually when he finally headed back home, he decided to get involved in, liberating his people in the continent. I mean, Stasius was a whole different issue, from what I know of. But, I don't know.
More to the point. More to my point, though. There's always something. And if you let yourself be overwhelmed by the anxiety, there's nothing you can do.
That's very true.
But not having any anxiety at all doesn't let you be aware or...
I mean, we as people grow through clashing with others, whether that be through strife and conflict or just generally experiencing new things.
Right.
It's just a shame that, unfortunately, some people are having to learn that through, being occupied and oppressed.
Yep.
But, on my oath as a paladin of vengeance, I will happily make sure that anyone who refuses to surrender will be put to my sword.
Woman after my own heart.
Well, for now, you should probably get some rest. It is beginning to get late.
Yeah. Good night, Karen.
Good night. And so, whoever is doing the second watch... Karen did a much better roll.
That would be me.
I like to think I helped calm her down.
Not a great roll.
I think so. I mean, you did well. Really, so...
Only because of my modifier, honestly.
And I mean, that can be the difference between getting caught in a gelatinous cube or seeing it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Which reminds me, I really need to use gelatinous cubes. I mean, I don't need to, but They're
You
always
want to.
fun. Yeah, I really do.
They're
They
fun.
were
They're
released
fun.
in the
though.
D&D movie.
They were, yeah. Fun fact, that were caught dead in that gelatinous cube was a reference to the original live-action D&D movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yes. You find yourself a bit on edge, Seamus, I imagine. Probably because, you did nearly die from that Starspawn. And, it probably
Yeah.
didn't help you very much to know that there's even other things that are just as terrible.
Even worse horrors beyond my wildest nightmares.
The horror. The horror.
But, yeah. As you're, how would I describe it? As you're sort of there with your thoughts, Karen says to you, "Are you okay, Seamus?"
Well, almost dying for the umpteenth time is starting to get a little old.
I mean, it'll be different when you actually die.
I'd rather not anticipate that.
I mean, the best way to just not die is to, and this isn't very helpful, just not be in that kind of situation. Sometimes it really is just down to luck, maybe you accidentally walked into a hallway and found a gelatinous cube.
Stop it with the gelatinous cubes, Kaido. I don't need the foreshadowing.
It could be that, you were just completely caught off guard through something that could not have even possibly been your fault. Sometimes it can just be due to ineptitude, not even yourself, but others. The best thing you can do is to just be... How would I describe it? Is to be able to adapt, I guess.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
I mean, that's how you survived from the sounds of it.
Yeah, I was just hoping there's like a slightly less soul-crushing and difficult way to do it.
I mean, think of it this way. A normal person would have already broke under probably half the conditions you've dealt with by now.
I don't know if that makes me feel better. That makes me feel like I'm holding on by a thread, maybe.
I mean, sometimes that thread can be the strongest piece. And even if you do snap, it's not as if you're alone.
I like your funny words, Magic Woman.
I know... how would I describe it? The first time I actually met Akira, I was a little over 100 years old. He just randomly appeared out of nowhere and asked to challenge our strongest fighter. I didn't feel like I should deign him with a challenge, though. And so someone else chose to fight him. It was pretty
And I bet-
even.
Huh.
And then, then he fought the next person, and it was pretty even. And I think by the time he fought the fifth person, he was beginning to show fatigue. And so we let him rest for a day. And it was then that I realized that, he was holding back.
I figured usually he pretty handily beats
I mean, that was
most opponents.
that was before he really became the person you would know him as.
Hmm.
And even then, by the time he met me, he had dealt with an entire rebellion. He had dealt with, being part of the wild cards, all of that kind of stuff. He dealt with going against the concept of revenge. and trying to break that kind of cycle. You know, he'd been through a lot by then, and, you know, he was younger than you were when he went through a lot of that.
Hmm.
And, you know...
Well, like, that at least gives me confidence that I can survive that long if I just, you know, keep growing.
Not only that, but, like, from what he describes, you have a much more intimate and close-knit friendship with your group than he did with his. Which, again, reinforces the idea that you aren't alone.
Well, thanks for the pep talk. Think I might have needed it.
Nothing wrong with it. I'm always here to provide guidance and help if you need it.
You know, I hope you don't mind me saying, you and Akra definitely have a different approach to things.
In what way?
I don't know. Aqua is definitely a little bit more, como se dice, laissez-faire with his policies.
Meaning what?
Kind of live and let live.
I mean, for him, was a martial artist. He's learned to sort of live life in a way to the elements, really, you know. He's learned to flow like water, let the wind take him where he wants.
But like a
then when he
butterfly,
needs,
sting like a bee.
But then when he needs to, he can hold fast like the earth and roar like fire. I was very much raised to be a regimented soldier when I grew up.
You're definitely more even-keeled than him. Again, if you don't mind me saying.
Which is... he wouldn't disagree with you. To be fair, though, Akra's a very complicated person. If you've probably never seen it, but when he really gets lost in fighting, it unnerved me at first. The first time I really saw him lose himself in a fight, he was caked in... Well, it was hard to tell if it was his blood or the people he'd just killed. But... how would I describe it? I still remember seeing the smile he had in his face. How sated he looked.
Interesting.
You know, it's one of them. You've only really seen one aspect of Akra, which is fine. And to be fair, he even doesn't necessarily like that side of him who loves battle. But he also does care a lot about things, and he does end up letting things get to him a lot.
I can see that.
It's just that he's learned to not only not show it a lot, but he also just doesn't feel like it... From what he's told me, it doesn't really matter to let that get to you. To let stuff get to you when you can do stuff about it.
Something to be said about grace under pressure, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, even the most steadfast of people can crack and struggle. And that's not a sign of weakness. We as people have limits, which is completely fine.
Yeah. Well, we've been pushing our limit. The four of us, at least.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can continue to push it even further if you wanted to.
Yeah, well, I think we still have room to grow.
You definitely do. Which is a good thing. The moment you feel like you've plateaued, the moment it is that you really aren't as strong as you think you are.
How does the saying go? When you stop learning, you start dying?
I don't know. I've never heard that saying before.
Huh.
There's still some idioms that you people use in the Prime Dimension that still escape me. Because
Well,
you know, I'm not from this dimension.
Well, you seem to grasp the concept of the saying at least, even though you may not know it.
I mean, it's a pretty obvious to understand idiom, but yeah. Well, for now, I think you should probably get some rest, Seamus. You're looking a bit tired.
Maybe not physically, but definitely mentally at this point.
Also, I forgot to wake up Rua, and she just... I'll do it now. As, you go to rest, she wakes up Rua, and whoever is doing the third watch with Rua and Felix can roll.
Autobots roll out.
Damn! Damn!
I perceive everything.
Felix, you watch as Rua actually just starts, what's it called? He starts trying to climb a tree and uses one of his mechanical arms to actually climb up it easier, and then, like, keeps a watch. He is very alert.
Well, I guess I'm not good enough to talk to.
We can still talk. We both have good hearing.
Do I?
You're an elf, you should. We all naturally have good hearing.
We say something?
You in your mouth. That very unkissable mouth.
Ew, who'd want to kiss?
Exactly.
So, how are you taking the reveal of horrors beyond our comprehension existing?
I mean, my grandpa's told me about some stuff before already. He's told me about elder brains. He's told me about, you know, all sorts, really. I'm worried, but more so because of like the timing of what might come after we deal with the cults. It's less the actual thing itself, but more so, you know, will we be prepared to, you know, fight back if we aren't already too exhausted from whatever comes of this?
Yeah, hopefully there's, you know, not going to be a trend of, I mean, hey, we beat Eben, then the cult took over. Hey, we beat the cult, and then something else took over. We beat the something else, and then another thing takes over.
I mean, I guess the thing is, if that does happen, we need to make sure there are people who are still around who can keep up the fight even if we aren't around.
Yeah, once we beat the cult, we'll know not to leave Zaris in charge.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Zaris? I still don't really know what I want to do with him.
Well, your fallback is always just letting him fight a trial by combat and having Aldane be your champion. That'll kill two birds with one stone.
I wasn't there for that. If I wasn't in a coma, you guys were still at the prison when that happened, right?
No, I'm saying you do it again.
Why would I do it again? I never did it in the first place.
That's fair. What I'm saying is, basically make Aldane fight Zaris again.
I'm not going to order him to do it. If he wants to fight Zaris, he can. It's his prerogative.
Yeah, but he never wants to fight Zaris.
Yeah, and I'm sure Zaris will make Aldane fight him anyway. It's not really up to me. Besides, I'm too busy wanting to settle the score with Colgan right now.
Also fair.
Do you think it would be... Do you think it would be especially ironic if I cut off one of his legs instead of an arm?
Yeah, I think that would work.
Hmm. I'll have to come up with a really cool alliterative attack name, though, before I do it.
Do you want to make it on the opposite side of his body to the one you're missing as well?
I was just thinking that, you know.
Yeah. Though to
I'm
deal with
glad we're having artistic discussions of dismemberment.
though to deal with him, we'll have to get over to Bo Vetman at some point.
Would he not probably be in Centralis right now? Because
I
if
mean-
I recall, we raided that Cult of the Tarask base. They probably abandoned it.
Maybe, maybe not. I mean, here's the thing: Bo Vetman is the only place that's really like neutral to them at the moment.
I mean, the thing is, they want to have centralized their forces in Centralis. Because, again, you know, even if that wasn't the only headquarters they had for the cults, it'd probably be wise to, especially after such a big power play, you know, bring their forces together and keep a tight lid on everything.
And I suppose,
Especially because they have especially when they have one of the biggest cities on this continent in their control.
and I suppose Cordis is where they've left that Tarask they're always prattling on about.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if we could find it and like set up a loads of explosives and just blow it up. Even if it doesn't kill it, it might, you know, leave it, you know, injured enough to make a fight with it much easier.
Let me just check my spell book just real quickly. See if I've got anything that might be
If I
related
had the
to that.
Moonblade, like, if I had the Moonblade, we could have Astorix to store Meteor Swarm in it, and then he could cast it, and then I could cast it.
Okay, not right now, but I also know that Glyph of Warding exists if you can get enough, you know, like wizards together.
I mean, well, maybe we could wait until you have enough Simulacrum, until you can cast Simulacrum. Cast that non-stop, and then, you know...
That could also work, though I feel like it may drive some people insane if there's more than one of me.
Can't you order them to just not speak?
Yeah, but would I?
I mean, I guess we could just wear earplugs.
Yeah, but I know telepathic bond now, so yeah.
I mean, who says we would want your voice in our heads without our consent?
Suppose
Are
it
you
does-
really going to not? Are you really going to non-consensually talk in our heads at us?
I non-consensually talk out loud, don't I?
Yeah, but it's different doing it in someone's head because that's more personal. Think of it this way: there's a difference between high-fiving someone and grabbing them on the shoulder.
Felix just acts it out. I suppose.
I mean, you won't be able to do it. You won't be able to do it with him because he's like on a tree.
No, I'm
branch.
doing it to myself. I mean,
Oh, right.
like
yeah.
high five myself and grab my own shoulder. Like, I suppose there is a difference.
Well, yeah, I don't know. For now, though, especially if we're heading to Utah, we'll have to deal with Seamus's trial, whatever that might be.
I don't know a lot about the personality of the Suzaku, but Honestly, from what I can tell, Genbu is one of the nicer ones, so we should be prepared for something rough.
I mean, from what you guys have said about each of your gods, I would probably say it's in order of nicest to least nice. It would be Genbu, Suzaku, Seiryu, and then Byakko. And even then, according to what Darren says, it seems like Seiryu is more of a tough love kind of guy.
Is
Byakko's
Byakko
just a Serbit.
Is Byakko really that bad, or is Aldain just really annoying him?
I mean, it sounds like he constantly wants to egg on Aldain to fight.
So we've got another person who can support us in the push for Aldain versus Zaris.
Probably.
Cool. I mean, if nothing else, it could be like a big revenue for the country again. You could sell tickets.
It's probably going to be a fight to the death, though. With how things will probably go, I can't imagine one of them walking away alive. Which means Oriana would have to see the two of the men who met her most in her life, one of them being dead.
Probably shouldn't let children watch then.
Probably not, no.
We can workshop the idea.
No. I mean, heck, if we really, really need to, like, worst case scenario, it will be in an area where people can't not see the fight.
Alright, it's your country.
Currently, it's not. And I mean, to be fair, when I get my way, after everything's all sorted, it won't be my country.
I mean, in a general sense, it's still your country, because you still be from there, whereas I'm not, so...
I mean, technically I'm not. My granddad came from a different continent, and my grandmother came from a different plane of existence. And, you know, my dad was born in a different plane. It's only really my mum's side of the family that's, like...
Yeah, but you were still born in Cordis, weren't you?
And depending on how things are, I don't even know if that's... I think it would be my paternal side of my family? Of my mother's side would be maybe from the continent of the seas. Because, you know, I'm part sea elf.
Like I said...
It's like, only a quarter of me is really from this continent.
Yeah, but you were born in Cordis, and that's what matters.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I mean, technically,
would you
my
consider-
ancestors were from a different plane of existence, and my dad was from Blackrain. Does that make me a citizen of Blackrain? Not really.
Maybe.
We'll have to sort
I don't
it
know
out.
how Black Crane immigration laws work.
I have a feeling they didn't work very well. Considering, you know, my dad fled in exile sort of deal.
Exile? I thought you just didn't like it.
Potato, potato.
What, you want stew?
Stew would be great.
Well, speaking of stew, we should really probably stew over potential plans. Who do we need to wake up actually for the shift? I forgot. Was it Aldain?
Aldain is the last watch, yeah.
Fair. Aldain, you are awoken by Ruat and Felix, who will both still be awake with you.
Ah. That time already, huh?
Yeah, we were talking about how you might have to kill Zaras.
I would rather it not come to that if I can help it.
And this is what I was saying to Felix, you know. Oriana won't like it.
No, she very much won't, and that's part of the reason.
You were saying one of them will die.
Yeah, and that's why we shouldn't fucking show it off to the goddamned people of Cordis. We can't make a spectacle out of something so climactic and horrific. Azura is going to do perception. Damn.
It's going to be a
I'll-
brutal fight as it is, yeah.
And who knows, if Tora's still MIA, you won't even have him to help you fight this time.
I imagine it'll wind up being one-on-one regardless. Knowing my luck. Should I roll perception for the watch? Yeah.
Your luck does seem to be of the not great variety at times, yeah.
I feel like we're all just different ways of unlucky, let's be honest.
My luck is rather hit or miss, yes.
I lost an arm, Felix is obsessive satyr.
I wonder if he survived the takeover.
I lost all my friends.
Seamus has got to potentially deal with rebuilding his fan base. Dyron.
Just Darren's existence.
He just gestures
Everyone has a
at,
lot going on.
he just gestures at Dyron, like, and doesn't say anything else. Like, there's just a beat, and then... Yeah. You know, Darren has to wear those shoes with those pants. Like, we're all different kinds of unlucky.
Darren has been
How
complaining.
Iron's shoe choice is immaculate.
Darren has been complaining about the lack of fashion opportunities thus far in this portion of the journey while in the cart. So yeah.
Yeah, because we're too busy fucking fighting for our lives. God. It is crazy how much fighting we've done since, you know, everything.
It's almost like somebody wants to keep our adventures entertaining or something.
Yeah, no, weird that.
Us, perhaps? I feel like a lot of the time when we get into fights, it's our fault.
I mean, could we have just walked away from those Starspawn? Probably. Should we have? No.
Yeah, definitely no, but... And hey, it looks like we won't need to fight Layla anymore. Which is good.
That's certainly a plus, yeah.
You know, we... Although I wonder what's going to happen with the Colts, because... I'll be honest, I don't know if they'd be willing to listen to reason if we... when we push them out of Centralis. I'm worried that if we don't do things right, we could potentially make the situation for humans even worse.
I'd rather not have a whole ass rights nightmare on our hands, yeah.
I will be honest with you guys, though. If the need arises, I will make the judgment call to do what needs to be done. If they will not back down, we cannot allow them to continue what they have been doing.
Hopefully it will not come to that.
Same. I hope it doesn't either. But, you know, if our current experiences are any indication, it will definitely be a tricky attempt. unless you have anything else you want to say, we can end the long rest.
I
Yep.
don't think I've got anything.
So, morning arrives. You are all fully rested. All your resources are back. You're fully healed. Yes, the next day. As you are getting ready, again, give me a D100. Okay.
Oh, it's the
and
hit show 24.
Dylan, can you also give me a D100?
Almost my favorite number. 23.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. LOL. 3 Starspawn emissaries.
Oh no.
No, I just do, what was it again? I do like 30 Starspawn Grews. They have 5d6 HP, so you know, enough AoEs could probably kill them all, but who knows? So, as you guys are continuing on your cart's journey, thankfully, the ride has been pretty uneventful. You've not really been bothered during your time. During the traveling, Guy would have sent you sendings, just asking for a status update and letting you know that, you know, things are going okay on their end. They're keeping in contact with like torrents and so on. And they've asked torrents to send a sending to Hayato because you are planning on heading to Yuto first, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Hayato would be preparing things for you to arrive. Eventually, you do arrive after many, many days of traveling. You do actually cross the border, as in the far distance you would see.
Cross the border illegally?
You would see the Toketo Tower to the east of you. And of course, knowing that to the north is Shimo. And so, as you continue along, how would I describe this now? You actually get intercepted by what appears to be a griffin. The griffin would land in front of your carts, and riding the griffin is a soldier from Tenoyama. Sorry. The soldier dismounts from the griffin and heads over to you, Darren and Seamus, and hands you a letter and just says, "This is from Lord Hayato. He says he does look forward to meeting you when you finally arrive at the capital.
Someone's happy to see us.
We've been keeping an eye on Cordis to see if any members of the cult have been trying to invade.
I kind of explained briefly what the Starspawn emissary was and where we saw it.
I'll pass this information on.
That might be above your pay grade, but just
You said it was within Black Crane's borders, right?
yeah. But considering
Well-
all things,
We'll station a few Griffin Riders in the area and just see. But we'll definitely make sure to give it a respectable berth, while still also
Yeah.
keeping sure that nothing dangerous continues to operate in that area.
right. I feel like we'd be remiss in not sharing that information before it got too scary.
Yes.
The Griffin Rider salutes you all and gets back on and flies off. And yeah, eventually, because I forget how many days it actually is. From like, at least just from Rainwall to Shimo. We'll round it up to 320 miles. Which is a little under 2 weeks. So you've been traveling for like, over 2 weeks on the road. And I'm going to get some new music for arriving in Shimo. Oh god, this one's too jolly.
Have a holly jolly Christmas.
It's not I don't want jolly music, it's just like too excitable. Is this the one I wanted? No, it's not. This one is this one's definitely not. Is this the one? We'll use this theme. Sure. Here you go, Mel.
Alright.
So, as you cross along the road and head through to Shimo, you can see the mountains getting higher and higher, as in the far distance you would see the mountain range of Yuto as you arrive in Shimo. Once you get to Shimo, you do see a couple of guards who greet you. They salute you and just say, "We've been expecting you. We've already procured lodgings for you while you're here. Hayato is still in the capital awaiting you. And how to describe it? They basically lead you to where you're staying at. Oh god, I'm yawning. When you get to the inn that you're staying at, you've got stables for your horses and carts. At this point, Karen would tell you, I'm going to be heading for Akra's home now that you're here.
Stay safe.
Like I said, of course, I'll be fine. If anything, you should wish luck for the things that I'll be encountering on my travels.
Oh, I don't even have that much. I don't have that much faith in them.
I'm not as fast as Akra, but I do have Hunter's Mark, so I can still know where they would be if anything does escape. But that's neither here nor there. For now, though, I wish you luck, Seamus, on your trial.
Thank you.
I hope the reunion with Hayato goes well. I mean, I don't know what he's like, but
He was nice enough.
Mm-hmm.
well, in any case, I will see you later. If you need me, you know how to get hold of me.
Go through a life gate and then fight your son to a bitter duel to the death.
It weren't a duel to the death, though.
No, it was a melee à trois.
Technically, there were like 6 of us in there.
Melee à trois?
In any case, I will see you some other time. And she leaves the group.
Party member gone.
So now this is just the 6 of you, as this is the 4 of you along with Prody and Rua.
How's Prody doing in all of this?
Prody seems to be handling things pretty fine. During the travels, he's been doing pretty well. He's been training. He would be training or sparring with any of you if you would be interested in taking him up on the offer.
I think
Rue,
Valorant would be.
Rue would be willing to spar with him as well quite a bit. And he would have also even been training a bit with Karen as well. And you can see very clear growth. He's definitely much stronger. And honestly, if you were to compare him to some of your other allies, he's probably in like the upper category when it comes to like your allies.
I think I'd also give him like let him look at my spellbook and copy any spells that he.
I'm not a wizard, Felix.
Are you not? I thought you could cast spells.
Yeah, because I'm a fighter and I can cast spells with that.
Does it not
You've never
apply?
seen me use a spellbook. You've never seen me use a spellbook, Felix. I do not have the capacity to learn spells like that. I could, but I don't want to be a wizard.
Then how do you learn spells?
How does he learn spells? And he just points to Seamus. And how does he learn spells? And he just points to Aldane.
Divine inspiration, probably.
Everyone has different ways of learning spells. I just don't need a book like you do. You also didn't need a book until recently.
I was just trying to be helpful.
I appreciate it, but I don't need it. Thank you, though. When you actually get to the inn, as you approach the counter, the person working the bar says, "I'm really sorry to say, but we're actually short on rooms at the moment. We have," and he pulls out a single key. 2 beds in this room.
Well, some people are sleeping on the floor.
I mean, technically,
Dibs on the bed. Brewer says.
At the very least, Seamus should get a good night's rest considering it's his trial we're going to next.
Yes.
I mean, I don't.
Fine, Seamus can have a quarter of my bed.
I don't really need a bed, so.
I'm used to sleeping rough on the floor, Brody says.
I've slept on
I can also
things
sleep on
I
the
don't
floor.
want to describe.
I like a bed. It's like it. You know what? Felix will go on about it, but you know what, Felix? If you tranced in a really nice bed, you'll probably be a different person.
But I don't want to be a different person. I like who I am.
I mean, a better person.
Don't be mean.
I'm not being mean. I mean, you would know all too well what it's like to be in a nice, comfortable bed, right?
Rua, I was an orphan.
Oh, what? And you didn't know what? And what? You've never slept in a bed before in your life?
Not until, like, very recently.
How bad was the fucking crime gang you're in?
I was
What?
a slum child.
And what? You couldn't have even afforded a flat?
Not until I was 15.
You should turn that mindset into a grind set. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say that at all. Well, and then he just looks to Seamus. You would know what it's like to sleep in a comfy bed, wouldn't you?
Of course I would.
Or did you sleep in a futon?
One or the other.
I did spend all of my
It was
money on
usually
nice clothes.
my version of a bed growing up was like a nice soft mat on the ground.
Oh God!
Tatami mats.
As a side sleeper now, and then he just looks to Aldane. You know what it's like to sleep in a comfortable bed, right, Aldane?
Yes, I do.
I
I
like.
also know how to sleep on, the ground.
I like.
Yeah, of course.
I like how Rue's just moving up the party in order of privilege.
Yeah,
Like starting with Darren and now up to Aldane.
maybe beds are a lot more of a luxury than I considered. Rue's like stroking his chin in thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is probably the most privileged background.
Like, I did not pick the urchin background, but I almost did.
We saw
Darren's also-
we saw your house, Aldane. We know how you lived.
I should
I
know.
feel
I've
like
slept
calling
in
it
his house
house is
before.
underselling it.
Silver
I also-
spoon.
I always forget Brody stayed with Aldane, like, at the very beginning of when he was a character.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you head into your room, you do see 2 3/4 size beds. So it is enough to fit 2 people on each bed. There's a single couch in the room, and a cook chair, a sneako chair.
Byron calls the chair.
Aldane will sleep on the couch.
There's enough room for 2 people on each bed.
I know.
I'll take the cook chair, whatever that means.
No, I took it already.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could share the chair.
Dyrus has
Yeah, the
already
chair.
curled into it like a cat.
I'm sure Felix has a nice inviting lap.
That's. We're not trying to ship here, Kaido. Come on.
You don't want shipping and handling.
I mean, I don't
No.
think my lap can talk. I don't think it should, so I'm not sure if it's inviting or not.
Does it have teeth?
I was gonna say I've heard of one story where it says if someone's groin having teeth, but anyway,
As
I'm
an aside, I have watched that movie. It is stupid and I hate it.
it's awful.
Oh, yeah. No, I think I know what you're talking about.
It was the whole thing when I was in high school and college.
I remember.
I
I mean, they're
also-
dumb. There are a lot of horror movies with dumbass.
I also
Yeah, have you guys ever seen Rubber?
I remember watching
Yeah.
Human Centipede when I was like 14.
God.
That's just
Yep, I
disgusting.
saw
That's
that
not
one
even like
too.
scary. It's literally just disgusting.
And then you get absurd shit like whatchamacallit, Donkey Punch.
Never heard of it.
Don't look it up.
But yeah,
Not to mention, like all-time classics like Two Girls, One Cup and One Man, One Jar.
Okay, no, stop. We're done with this conversation.
Rue will get into one of the beds and already like, oh, this feels like a comfy bed. You, Seamus, are you fine with sharing a bed?
Only if I get to be a little spoon.
We're not spooning.
Aww. But what about
I'm not-
body heat?
It's not that cold here.
Oh, that's right. We're not in the mountains yet.
I'm going to be so honest with you, Seamus. After the last time you, me, and Felix had Sino, after we fell in that one ice river, never again.
Yeah, no, that's understandable.
And yeah, you have the option of like resupplying or checking things out in the town if you want to like get a feel for the morale at the moment. It's really up to you. Brody's interested in checking out the town. If any of you want to join him, you can.
Charon will.
I mean, I feel like Felix has probably been there before, but yeah, sure.
Would anyone else want to join Darren, Brody, and Felix?
Can that? Hello? Can you hear me?
Out on the town, you
Hello.
mean, or?
Can be, yeah.
Daron said they were going to go.
Yeah, I
Oh, then
mentioned
I'll go.
you.
Oh, okay,
I said Darren, Brody, and Felix.
I see.
Seamus is just gonna stay inside because he doesn't want to encounter anybody he knows in Shimo.
He's got to get his beauty sleep.
Brody just gets into bed later. Oh, what is this? What is this in the bed? Just like,
Why is it sticky? Why is it sticky?
oh, why is it from the ceiling? Oh.
No, he just sits
it's
on the
everywhere.
bed and it crackles.
You just see Rubber shivering in the corner because he didn't actually leave. He saw it all. He's just eating his gun.
Hold on. Okay.
But yeah, so as you guys go out to spend some time out, because this would be Prody's first time actually in what's it called? This would actually be Prody's first time in like a different country properly. Also, here's some new music. It's surprisingly chipper, the mood. You know, it's pretty positive. You know, despite everything. I'm just looking at what Gen posted. Awful, funny, but Felix, you would know of a really good eatery in the area that does takoyaki. It's some of the best you remember having when you've like what's the way to describe it? You remember like really, really enjoying the food from here when you passed through when like you would have went through here before heading to Centralis.
Yeah.
Do you lead the group to it?
Yeah, absolutely.
A set of a tray of takoyaki would be, let me see, 5 pieces of takoyaki for 8 silver each. Is and would people be paying for it?
Yeah,
Brody would just say, "I don't actually have any money."
we can spot you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'll
I'm
make
kind
sure
of hankering
to.
for some ramen, honestly.
I'll make sure to draw some enemy fire away from you, Felix, as gratitude.
I mean, what else am I going to spend money on except, on helping my friends and, maybe a staff of power one day.
You really can't let that go, can you, Felix?
I
Brody.
felt so powerful. I understand why it's called a staff of power.
You've had
You have that connection, huh?
You've had infinitely more time not using it than you have actually having held it.
Kind of nuts.
You got to aspire to something in this life.
So, as you treat Brody to some food, Darren, would you be interested in some takoyaki?
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be 8 silver for some.
Sure. Hold on.
Haldane will
You
take
what-
it.
Oh, you getting some as well?
Yes.
As you watch Brody actually kind of nearly devour the food very quickly.
You
He's
said
clearly
8 silver,
enjoying
Kaido?
it. What's that, sorry?
You said 8 silver?
Yes. But yeah, you see Brody like going through the food very quickly. He's clearly enjoying it though. He's never had it before. It's like, ooh, the most I've had is like the fish we can catch in the nearby river.
Wait till you try something even more substantive.
I mean, I'm still hungry, but I won't break your bank, so don't worry.
Trust
Do you know where a nearby ramen shop is?
Felix, if you give me a perception check.
Trust me, Brody, you can't.
Are you sure about that?
I think you need your entire tribe to break our banks.
I mean, the tribe has gotten to nearly. He takes a moment to count on his fingers. Nearly 200 strong.
Hmm.
I mean, some of those are non-combatants, but
Right.
God, 200 lives at my command. I couldn't imagine being a king or a queen. Or any kind of thing like that.
Cut to Rua sneezing and crying.
Yeah.
Anyway, do I know a ramen restaurant with a 13?
You do. You find one pretty quickly. You know where to look, so that does help. And eventually you do find one. You do lead the group to it. They're currently doing a food challenge. If you can eat 10 bowls of ramen, you not only get it for free, but you also get a full 5 years of free meals.
10 bowls of ramen as a single person, or?
Yeah, single person.
Brody, do you feel hungry enough to eat 10 full bowls of ramen?
I just assume the takoyaki are appetizers. Of course I'm down for it.
Alright.
If anyone wants to participate in this food challenge, you would have to be doing con saves.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely
game.
not.
Haldane will do it.
Felix, do you join in?
Felix will not now.
No balls, I see. I'm joking. Aldane, give me a Constitution saving throw. So you and Prody both pass.
I mean, this is the first round, so...
Yeah, so it's going to be 5 con saves per 2 balls. So yeah, you get through the first 2 pretty easily. You don't really have any problems. Give me another Constitution saving throw.
Also, Pruddy's next to me, so he gets that bonus to his con saves.
Yeah.
Damn!
Damn! You both just take it like a champ. You both eat the ramen, and you start getting a crowd gathering, watching you both.
Bets here! Take your bets!
Is Darren playing bookie?
Sure, why not?
Dyron, you get about... Let me roll. You get about 12 people betting for Aldane and Prody to both win.
5 gold on them throwing up.
Aldane, give me another con save.
Oof. Yep, that didn't happen.
High or low?
Hi.
You want to wish it didn't happen, Aldane.
Damn it.
You vomit.
No, I'm not gonna fucking use my wish on that bullshit. Come on.
Yeah, you vomit, Aldane.
Ugh.
Would be pretty cool if you did.
Prody stands strong, though. He's still ready for more. He's still
I have
got...
a question
more
for
in
you,
him.
I know.
Yeah?
Was the bet for both of them to pass, or...
You were getting bets for people expecting both of them to win. The people expecting both of them to win are upset. But there's people who are still betting on Prody winning the challenge. Prody must now do another con save.
Well, Dan may have puked, but he's still conscious.
Oh, with Aldane's pass benefit as well. So
Oh
now,
shit. Oh
Prody-
shit.
Prody needs to roll over a 20 to pass. Dyron or Aldane? Do either of you wish Prody to... No, I'm joking.
No! Damn you! Nope.
Prody is going to, because he hit level 11, use Indomitable to reroll.
Oh my god.
So now he gets that 20. You watch as Prody's about to vomit, and he swallows the vomit back up, gets a big chug of water, and gets through the last 2 bowls of ramen.
Good job, Prody. Oh god.
No, he has to re-roll the save, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, true.
Stop trying to cheat me out of my winnings. Ah, damn it.
Prody's the goat. Prody's the goat, what can I say?
Fair enough.
I truly did not know your game. Apologies.
Prody takes the food, but you actually watch as he tries to stand up and he nearly falls over.
Come on, let's bring you home, little boy.
Thank you. I'm 25 years old. Actually, no, he's not. How old did I say Prody was?
I forget.
Did I? I don't think I pinned it, did I?
No.
No, I didn't. It weren't that far up. Prody is 23, actually. There we go. But yeah. If any of you want to help Prody back because he's struggling to walk, give me strength checks.
Aldane will help, weak as he is.
Dyrod.
Does Felix help?
There's such a thing as too many cooks in a kitchen.
What about too many cooks on a chair? As Aldane's mostly the one holding the weight, Dairon.
I
You're
did
just
try.
steering.
Yeah, you did make an attempt.
Darren
I
is
don't
mostly
know
just
how
doing
I'm
the
a fuck
steering.
for.
Because
Yeah, Darren can be the steerer.
Yeah.
Eventually, though, you head back. What would Seamus have been doing? Because it would have been like a few hours while they were out.
Shimo is basically just practicing music.
I don't know if it was for anyone else, but you were cutting out really badly.
Yeah.
yeah, it was. For
I
me too.
mostly got the gist of practicing music, but
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since he has the room to himself for the most part right now. He wants to just kind of like
Rua's
take
just
the
in
time
bed
to
and he's actually
practice.
like lay on his side.
Yeah, mostly just Seamus wants to practice without getting roasted by everybody.
They wouldn't roast you.
Uh-huh.
we haven't roasted you about playing music. We've just roasted you about a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've
But
roasted
anyway,
you about
just
music.
seeing how well I play after leveling up, and
So,
yeah.
give me a performance check, and while you do, I need to change the music. This is definitely not the song I thought it was. Is this the one? No.
Also, did the money Darren won from the people who bet that both of them would succeed cover the money they lost from the people who bet on just Prody to succeed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I make any extra?
High or low?
Let's go high.
So you made 14 gold.
Alright, I'll take it.
Dope.
I mean,
That's a good
14
haul.
gold. 14. It's easy to forget. 14 gold to an average peasant in D&D.
Oh, no, I know.
like cover rent for like
Mm.
several months.
I mean, I gave I think 50 gold to a random bartender, and he basically retired on it. So in another
Yeah,
campaign.
you could just quit working for the year.
I mean, my party ended up getting that Bob as a result of that, so I think I'd call it a win.
So my man's invested.
Well, it said the guy basically
I
said,
really hope our house is okay.
"Oh yeah, we do
Oh,
have a
yeah.
house."
It did.
Did.
Oh yeah, it's gone, I'm sure.
It's been reappropriated.
It's been repossessed.
Yeah, it's been repossessed. Oh my god, this isn't the song either. Here's the one I wanted. So, here you go, Mil. As you're playing your music to yourself, Seamus, eventually you feel a small draft. And you begin to hear the voice of a very familiar god. As the Suzaku speaks to you,
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
it has been a pleasure to see your journey so far, Seamus.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well, and I hope you are as well.
Oh, I was just starting to relax. And then,
Did I
well,
scare you?
no. I just,
I'm sorry if I do. I honestly, I don't mean to. If I have been,
it's not fear. I just don't get much time to myself anymore.
I just wanted to let you know that when you arrive at the Zenith Peak to do your trial, you will be faced with a very difficult decision.
I figured, but do please elaborate.
If you wish to succeed this trial, it will come at a very heavy cost.
And I assume you don't mean money.
No. What if I was to tell you that I cannot grant a blessing to two different people at the same time?
That
You
wouldn't.
see,
That would be slightly odd, but I guess I can assume there'd be limits to your blessing.
this continent isn't my domain, therefore I do not have the same power I could flex as I could if you were back on back on the continents that how would I describe? That is my dominion. As a result, I would have to remove the blessing on Hayato to grant you yours.
Wait. So what you're saying is
What?
I have to become the peak soul?
I didn't necessarily say that.
But only the peak soul can receive that blessing.
The blessing I've given to Hayato is irrespective of him being the leader of Tenoyama.
But aren't they synonymous with each other? You can't be the peak soul without the blessing of the Suzaku.
That's more of a formality, and even then, the actual blessing I'm referring to is different from the peak soul in terms of a blessing is more me giving them approval, not an actual divine signification of anything.
Hmm.
You see, the blessing I gave to Hayato, well, how would I explain this? I assume he hasn't told you himself, but a while ago, not long after he actually became the peak soul of Tenoyama, someone actually broke into his home. And he didn't survive the night.
You're saying Hayato died and was brought back to life?
Yes.
Someone must have been right on hand with Revivify then, or unless
I was happened to be watching at the time. And
so
I
you
used to-
saved Hayato.
Yes. And the thing that's keeping him alive currently is because of me. But if I'm to give you your blessing, I would have to remove the one I have on Hayato.
My God.
I'm telling this to you now so you have enough time to mull it over when you actually arrive at the capital.
Why? Why do you have to tell me this now?
Well,
If you
would
told me at the
rather-
front end, I would have just been resigned to not getting the blessing at that point.
Would you have rather completed the trial and then found one of your friends to be a corpse?
I'll have to discuss this with Hayato when we get to Yuto.
For what it's worth, he would probably be fine with you completing the trial. But
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
not
know
here
if-
to speak for him. You also have
I don't
your
know if
friends
I'm
to speak
fine with
to.
it, though.
Well,
Not only does he mean something to me as a friend, but he means something to the people of Tennoyama, too.
Well, this is something for you to consider. I am sorry to bother you during this time of relaxation, as brief as it might be. But again, I felt you deserved to know the truth. And you feel as if you are now alone.
Well, I was alone until you came in and dropped this bombshell on me. How am I gonna focus on my music now? Seamus kind of says that last part under his breath, like, shit, how am I gonna focus?
The entire time, Rua's not really moved. It looks like he's probably just decided to trance and rest. Eventually, the gang arrives. Dyron and Aldane carrying Prody, who has a slightly bulging stomach. When you arrive back, you can see Seamus is probably very pensive right now.
Yeah, he didn't even crack a joke at Prody maybe being pregnant.
Empreg?
Empregant?
Seamus, you okay? I'm not sure I've ever seen you with that look on your face.
It's kind of a long story, but I don't want to bring down the mood right now. We can talk later.
I'm available to listen whenever you want.
It's better to share than it is to keep things bottled up. Prody says as he's like...
Oh, and you couldn't have had
Oh,
that
you look like you're
philosophy when
bottling
you...
up something. You're
Don't
bottling
ever
up something
look
yourself
at
right
me.
over there.
You couldn't have had that
It's
philosophy
fine.
when you were eating the ramen, Prody. Could have
Nah,
saved me
it's
5
fine.
gold.
You're me, dick. Why didn't you believe in me?
Because I've seen people try that challenge before, and they have uniformly hurled.
I am built different.
Also, it can't be helped, Felix, that you are a chronic gambler.
We should really get you some help after this is all said and done.
It's been a while since I've been able to hang
actually-
out with Ration in a,
Felix reminds me of that meme of the guy who's like, I'm not a gambling addict. Just because and he's like saying how he thinks about it and he gets the shakes.
I will say, I did make 14 gold off of this.
That's it. I can't wait to gamble today. Literally shaking. That's called dedication. I'll post it in memes. But yes. Seamus, do you decide to share this with the group? It's up to
I'm
you, you
sending
don't
it-
have to.
Seamus has, out of character, Seamus has very many complicated feelings about what's going on. I was gonna DM it to you, but I'll just tell you. But basically, in the time between his conversation with Suzaku and when people came home, he'd like kind of devised a way to tell them in song with a bunch of like metaphors and indirect
I see.
phrasing.
So it didn't distract
Essentially,
you
it's
from your
it's
music.
gonna be like he's gonna.
It didn't distract you from your music that much, then.
Well, basically, it's like it's so complicated that he can't say it in another way but with song. Like he has very complicated emotions about it in the sense that like he wants to help the party. He knows that this is a step he should take, but Hayato is one of his childhood friends, and he does not want to let him go.
Give me a performance check then.
Well, I was gonna save it for like if we were having a meal together kind of thing after this,
Oh.
or like a meeting of some kind, or just like something where they would want music as ambiance, and it would just be like something that he's kind of doing in the background, not directly to them, but just kind of,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know, I feel like we're not gonna get a better time today.
True.
You can definitely tell, like, I imagine that Seamus would be definitely wanting to say something, but, like, is struggling to. Dairon.
Yeah.
I think at some point, like, Dairon finds a lull in the night and just, like, very quietly says to Seamus, whenever you're ready, we're always here to listen, okay? And then just walks away.
Walks away
Well,
to the chair. Just...
Well, what I was thinking is it would be kind of downtime, and Seamus is just kind of strumming on his instrument and his lute, and just kind of singing a little bit to himself, kind of quietly. Like the party can overhear it, but it's not like a performance for the party. He's just kind of like working on his music in the room with everybody, and it's just the song that he's working on is that song. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where he's trying not to think about it and trying to avoid it, but then it's just coming through and like subconsciously while he's practicing his music.
I think Dairon's not going to force you to say anything if you don't want to, but will give you the space to, like, is, like, actively willing to give you, like, is giving you space to find your way out.
Yeah. Yeah, this is basically just Seamus using music to try to work through his emotions.
But, yeah. Eventually, the night comes, you all have a long rest. I imagine for you, Seamus, you're probably struggling with, what might happen with your trial should Seamus succeed, But you all awaken. Interestingly enough, though, you all notice Rue has still, like, not gotten out of bed, even after you all would have, like, started waking up.
Hey, Rua, you okay?
I've been awake for hours. I just really... Sometimes it's nice to just have stillness and not be bothered.
Fair,
Yeah.
I get it.
We're not exactly the most still of people, I guess.
Why would we be?
I don't know. I always like just being able to move around a lot.
But, in any case, we should probably get going. We don't want to keep Hayato waiting to do the trial, right? The sooner we do the trial, the better for everyone involved.
Especially Hayato.
I'm sure Hayato will really appreciate the whole trial thing.
Yeah, I'm sure everything will go great.
Honestly, I think he'll be even happier once we finished it.
What's the expression on Seamus's face right now?
I guess you guys would think Seamus is excited to go see Hayato, but he's still looking kind of pensive.
Rue's gonna insight. 'Cause he
Oh,
was
there-
Oh,
also
Dairon
is-
absolutely is.
Rue was asleep. Like, he doesn't know what the fuck's happened.
Wait, what's
21 with a nat 1?
that? Doesn't make sense. What just happened there again?
Reliable talent.
Oh,
If I roll less than
yeah.
a 10, I roll a 10.
Oh my
Oh my
god, Rue was
God.
like... Did I miss something? Seamus, you okay?
I don't think I've seen him thinking for this long ever.
No, that's rude, Felix. Come on.
You-
I don't
You've-
think I've ever seen Felix so... no, don't think I've seen Seamus so deep in thought before.
I'm willing to
It's-
believe Seamus can have deep things.
It's just.
Oh, yeah,
something
no,
that
he can have
Suzaku
deep
told me
thoughts.
yesterday.
What did she tell you?
She was telling me about the trial. Just it's something
Okay.
I just have to think about for myself. I don't really want to talk about it right now.
Oh, whenever you're ready.
We're here, so.
Yeah, don't worry. It's not something that'll affect you guys.
You say so.
Mm.
Anyway, who's ready to get a move on?
Yeah, the sooner we go, the sooner we can at least sort out things in Yuto and plan and organise stuff with Hayato.
Yep.
And so, as you guys prepare to actually leave to go to Yuto, we're actually going to call the session here.
Right?
Only because I can't think of what I want to do would be too awkward to try and squeeze into the session.
Fair enough.
And I think we've done a good bit of roleplay already, and
Yeah.
because the next session can actually be dealing with going to Yuto.
Mhm. No, that's fine. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. In terms of future stuff, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We won't be having D&D next week because Jack and I will be doing an anime stream on Sunday.
I see.
Fortunate timing, but 2 weeks for you to think about what you're gonna do, Dylan. Have fun with that.
Oh,
choice.
I already kind of know. But we'll see.
Then 2 weeks for you to have your decision circling around your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But yes,
Just like all that juicy ramen circling in Prody's gut.
But yes,
He's fucking. I was just gonna say, Prody gets hit with a particularly hard attack and just vomits.
Oh, you couldn't have done that like an hour ago.
I am the champion.
But yes, thank you again for watching. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and all that YouTube stuff.
Like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and please press that bell icon to get notifications.
And otherwise, hopefully we'll see you on Tuesday. Good night.
Later.
Night.